Hello everyone, today I will tell you about the film Gran Turismo. Enjoy watching! Based on real events, the film begins with the story of a young guy from Britain named Jann Mardenborough, who is passionate about racing in general and Gran Turismo in particular. His father does not share his passion, believing that it is better for his son to spend more time outdoors, playing football with his younger brother. Meanwhile, marketer Danny Moore arrives in Tokyo. He proposes a new advertising campaign to Nissan to gather the best Gran Turismo players and turn them into real racers. The proud descendants of the samurai are imbued with the wisdom of Gaijin and give the go-ahead, provided that he hires a suitable engineer. Moore calls all the auto engineers he knows, but they refuse to stain their hands with blood. One name remains on the list, Jack Salter, who works for the Kappa racing team, the face of which is Nicholas Kappa, the son of the team's founder. When Moore outlines to him the idea of a racing GT academy for gamers, Salter wonders where he is being drawn into, either into shady or very strange affairs. He refuses, but at dinner, when Rich Nicholas is rude to him, he changes his mind and calls Moore to accept his offer. Soon, John, as one of the Gran Turismo record holders, receives a special message from Moore, an invitation to an online qualifying race. The winner will join the GT Academy, where gamers will be made into real racers. He decides to try his luck and trains at home. His father comes into the room and asks why his son is not driving along the trajectory suggested by the computer, to which Jan replies that he has his own vision of the route. Later, his younger brother stumbles into the room to persuade John to take his father's car without asking and go hang out with friends. Jan refuses, but after learning that a girl named Audress will be there, he agrees. He managed to talk to her for a while about his plans for the future before the police disperse the youth. On the way back, Ian's friends hit Ian's car, breaking the mirror, which leads to a police stop. Worried that this will interfere with his brother's racing career and the upcoming race, Ian runs away from the cops using the skills he has honed in the simulator. However, his driving skills do not help. When his father finds out that they took his car, Mardenborough Sr. takes his son to work at the train station to show him what the future holds if he does not get his act together. Ian decides to follow his dream and leaves his shift to make it to the online qualifying race. On a proven track, the driver overtakes one competitor after another, using his own tactics and honed skills. Ian overtakes the leader just before the finish line, taking first place and earns a ticket to GT Academy. His father does not want to let him go, but his mother convinces him to give her son a chance. 10 candidates arrive at the Silverstone circuit, where Moore and Salter meet them. The engineer immediately states that he does not have much faith in the racing talents of the players. He notes Ian's height, doubting that he will fit in the car. Salter also explains that the gamers will have to train physically, because they will experience significant overloads. Salter, who is no stranger to dealing with numbered children, reports that over time, the candidates occupying the last position on the list will be removed until only 5 remain. They will have a qualifying race for the place of the potential champion. The days of grueling training begin. The participants practice on real cars, do physical exercises, and practice communicating with the press. The main goal of the event is a publicity campaign. In the process, those who showed the worst results leave one after another until 6 people remain, and Ian is the next candidate for elimination. During a training run, Ian wants to overtake his opponent on a turn, but due to jammed brakes, he goes sideways and crashes into the side of the car. There are no injuries, but Salter, who was driving with him as an instructor, is extremely unhappy with this outcome. Believing that he will fly out anyway, Ian objects to the engineer during the debriefing that the maneuver would have been possible if the brakes were in order. Salter does not believe the impudent upstart, but through experience it turns out that the brakes really are jammed. Then the engineer is filled with involuntary respect for the young man and his technical knowledge, and excludes number 5, leaving Mardenborough on the team. The morning of the decisive race arrives. Jan methodically drives along the track, overtaking his comrades. By the beginning of the second lap, he is in 3rd place. But for a long time, he cannot improve his position. On the penultimate lap, he takes 2nd place and breathes down the leader's neck. On the last lap, Jan uses his cornering tactics and accelerates on the final stretch. He and number 1 go evenly and even finish together, forcing the winner to be determined by photo finish. Jan breaks ahead, but Moore suggests choosing his opponent, who behaves better in front of the cameras. It's better for marketing. The racers wait for the result to be announced, and the judge says that John has won. The guy celebrates the victory together with his losing colleagues and calls home to please his mother. But this is only the beginning of his work. In order for Nissan to sign an advertising contract, the guy needs to get an international racing driver's license. To do this, he needs to take part in 7 races around the world and finish 4th or higher in at least one of them. Ian, Moore, and Salter fly to Germany on a private jet. There, the guy takes part in his first professional race. Among his competitors is Nicholas Kappa in a gold-colored car. At the start, Salter warns his protege over the radio about the other racers who are prone to dirty tricks and aggressive driving. At the beginning of the race, Ian is a little nervous and rushes from place to place. Some drop out of the race, one goes off the track, another's engine boils. On the 20th lap, Mardenborough stops for refueling. He returns to the race in 13th position, but soon makes up for lost time and climbs higher. Ian takes 4th place, the minimum for obtaining a license. However, Nicholas Coppa is breathing down his neck. The rival pushes Ian's car, causing him to spin around the track. As a result, he reaches the finish line 27th. Moore asks Salter if he is happy that he did not listen to his advice when choosing a driver, but the engineer is sure that the guy will still prove himself. In the next race, due to problems with the radio, Ian comes in 23rd. In the 3 subsequent races, the young talent improves his results, eventually reaching 8th place. It seems that the coveted licenses are already in the bag, if things continue to develop at this pace. But in the penultimate race, Mardenborough could not even finish due to a damaged car. He has one last chance to get the dream contract. To do this, he needs to come in 4th at the race in Dubai. But right from the start, Coppa rubs Jann's car against the curb. Despite the torn-off side mirror, the driver continues the race. He again purposefully makes up for lost time and catches up with Coppa. However, the rich kid in the gilded car does not want to let the gamer pass in a hurry and tries to push him off the track. Dissatisfied with the unsportsmanlike behavior, Jann slows down to smoothly enter the turns and pass the bully, taking 4th place. But Nicholas does not give up. He accelerates on the turn, trying to overtake his rival, but instead, losing control, crashes into the 3rd number. 2 cars fly apart along the track. Jann tries to go around them, but his wheel flies into the windshield. He makes a pit stop where it turns out that the car is fine. Ian can continue the race with cracks in the glass. Having regained 4th place, the former gamer confidently moves to the finish line, not letting those behind him pass. As a result, Mardenborough beats his competitor by half a length, having received the coveted license. In the evening, fans even approach him in a cafe for an autograph and a selfie. Salter advises the guy to spend part of the fee on a first-class ticket for the girl whose photos he looks at every evening. Ian heeds the advice and calls Audrey to invite her to Japan to sign a contract. In the land of the rising sun, the guy meets Kazunori Yamauchi, a game designer who created Gran Turismo. There he signs a professional pilot contract with Nissan, after which he wanders around Tokyo with Audrey, enjoying the exotic culture. The walk ends with a kiss on the dance floor. Jann's next race takes place on the famous and extremely dangerous German track Nürburgring. Even his parents are watching the race broadcast. He starts very well, already on the 6th lap, overtaking Nicholas and breaking into 2nd place. Jann is at the tail of the leader, gradually catching up with him due to the air corridor. But at some point on a steep hill, his car is blown up by a gust of headwind. The car somersaults over the fence, crushing the fence and scaring the spectators. Medics from Salter's Moor rush to the scene. The injured Jann is loaded into a helicopter to be taken to the hospital. When the guy comes to, the first thing he wants to know is if anyone was hurt in the accident. The news that one spectator died drives him into depression. Jann recovers while Moore gives an interview with condolences. Nicholas, meeting Salter, reminds him that now his protege will deflate, just like the engineer himself once did. To prevent this from happening, Salter takes the recovered Ian to the scene of the accident. He tells him that he ended his racing career after a similar incident, when not only his colleague died, but he himself almost burned up. To prevent the accident from breaking the young man's will, the mentor tells him to get behind the wheel right now and finish the track, facing his fear and overcoming the psychological barrier. Ian listens to him, and together they slowly drive the route. Then again, to reinforce the lesson. Ian plans to return to the sport, but Moore reports that a petition has appeared online demanding that the gamer be disqualified from participating in competitions. Even sponsors from Nissan are thinking about it, despite the fact that accidents are common in racing in general, and at the Nürburgring in particular, including on that fateful hill. To discredit the skeptics, Moore offers to take part in the famous 24 Hours of Lyman race and take a winning place on the podium. But to take part in the 24-hour marathon, a team of 3 racers is needed, who will take turns during the process. Ian is assigned Maddie and Antonio, his rivals from the GT Academy, as partners. Nissan also provides the team with a new car, designed specifically for Lyman. When Ian is preparing for the race, his father comes to him to apologize for not supporting his son in his hobbies. The young man shows the logo on the helmet, which is used as a mascot, the symbol of the football club that his dad played for in his youth. In addition to his father, Audrey and the rest of the GT Academy participants arrive to watch the competition. The teams go out for a pompous opening ceremony when French Special Forces parachute from a helicopter with the competition flag. Then the athletes disperse into crews, ready to start the race. The first from the Nissan team is Ian. The race is going pretty well. He is getting closer to the leading position, overtaking his rivals. But on one of the turns, Jann witnesses how 2 cars did not pass each other on the turn, flying off the track. He sees how one car catches fire, after which he is overwhelmed by flashbacks. From stress, the guy loses control of himself and loses speed. Competitors overtake him one after another, which is why he moves to the very end of the list. Jann does not react to Salter's commands in any way, until the engineer thinks of turning on the racer's favorite song on the radio, to which he trained. The music brings Mardenborough out of his stupor, and gives him enough energy to return to the competition. Inspired, Ian puts the pedal to the metal and makes up for lost time as best he can. The race continues. The drivers change after a certain number of hours, and the Nissan team's position gradually improves. Even the night and rain do not interfere. 19 hours after the start of the race, they are in 9th place. But Antonio starts to get cramps at the wheel, and they decide to replace him with Ian early. However, during the pit stop, due to a mistake by a mechanic who dropped a nut, Ian is delayed and joins the race from 9th place. To make up for the time lost at the very beginning due to stupor, he asks for permission to use his cornering tactics. Reluctantly, Salter agrees, because they need a place on the podium. Ian remembers years of training in the simulator and methodically overtakes his rivals on the wide outside curve. To deserve the cup, he needs to overtake the number 3, who turns out to be Nicholas Coppa. Coppa himself uses Ian's technique and goes on the outside, but Mardenborough steers deftly on the inside. On the home straight, Nissan pulls ahead and finishes 3rd by almost a body length. The fans rejoice, and the team takes an honorable 3rd place on the podium. Ian looks down on everyone who helped him along this difficult path. His father, Audrey, Salter, and others. The film ends with photographs of the real Ian Mardenborough, who not only served as the prototype for the driver who forever changed the history of motorsport, but also acted as a stunt double for his movie on the set.